Hello, my name is Jerry Wong. I'm a professor of piano at Kent State University. And the piece you just heard was by Seymour Bernstein. That was the first of 3 etudes that I commissioned from him in 2008. And I premiered them at the Music Teachers Association of California State Convention that year. And the etude Interlocking Passages has an overlap. The thumbs are often in each other's way, so to speak, and the passages need to trade off rather seamlessly from one hand to the next, and so that's the major obstacle of that etude. I'm absolutely delighted that the September-October issue of Clavier Companion will have a feature cover story about Seymour Bernstein. It's been one of the most exciting projects that I've been involved in. I had the opportunity to go to New York City last winter to sit with Mr. Bernstein, to interview him at some length for this article, and then to kind of rework it from a variety of perspectives and really try to cover this very broad, comprehensive human being and musician that he has been for all these many decades. One aspect from Bernstein's life is that he was a very well-known concert pianist. And in the article, I ask him about his experience as a concert pianist, some of the different places that he traveled, and he shares with me some rather curious moments from his career. And they were highlights to him, but they might not have necessarily been highlights to most concert performers. And in a way, it shows something about kind of his philosophy, if you will. And also, there's this wonderful moment in his career where he decided that he wanted to dedicate himself completely to being a teacher and a composer. And he withdrew from the concert stage. And Bernstein and I had a very endearing conversation about that decision. Seymour Bernstein has now become so well known in circles outside of the piano world, which of course, as we all know, is no small feat. And part of that came about in the most unusual incident. He was at a dinner party with the actor Ethan Hawke, who got to know Bernstein a little bit. They had some heartwarming conversations about being performers, and Hawke decided to make this documentary, which has gone global and won many, many awards. In fact, I think that at the Music Teachers National Association conference a couple of years ago, there was a viewing of the film itself, and it's a timeless and touching documentary that anyone actually would appreciate very much, not only just music lovers or proponents of piano playing. Bernstein's vast teaching experience, he has this most ideal setting in his Upper West Side Manhattan apartment. It's sort of the home studio dream, the way he has the paintings arranged and the pillows and the chairs, and it's a very intimate setting, and yet it sort of overflows with creativity, and it's a very, very poised setting for teaching, and that's of course where I visited him. And but his decades and decades of teaching all these students over the years have led him quite naturally to wanting to write about his piano teaching experience. And his books range from very specific ideas about how to pedal in Chopin to a much broader context about sort of the psychology of teaching and the psychology of one's mind and what one sort of needs to possibly do to unleash a particular student's gifts. And he's wonderful at speaking about how to help a student lose their inhibitions, to shed some of their stage fright, and to be able to allow their true emotions for the music, their true emotions for the music to speak. As a composer, Bernstein is eclectic. He's written lots of teaching pieces for younger students, the birds, the raccoons, pieces that bring about titles that come from nature. He has a summer home in Maine, which is where he does a lot of his creative writing, where he composes. And teachers love to give these pieces out because they're edited perfectly. There are lots of good pedagogical ideas presented, and they're charming to listen to. But in addition, Bernstein has an output of concert repertoire, including this very large work called New Pictures and an Exhibition. I asked Bernstein in 2007 if he would write these 3 etudes for me as if I were a graduating high school senior about to audition for a conservatory. And I put that in that context, and then he sent the pieces to me, and it was quite humbling to then put myself back in the shoes of that auditioning high school senior. So the third etude is for octaves. It's an octave etude, as many composers have written. And he writes at the beginning that it should be played with a hint of good humor, which of course I embraced. I've never been accused of not having a little hint of good humor. But he also writes that the piece should be played at any tempo you choose, by the choice of the performer. And I really chuckled when I saw that, because there are so many etudes in the literature that I would gladly play if I could choose any tempo that would suit my hands. But actually, the music goes quite logically towards a particular tempo, I think. And it actually returns to some of the ideas from the first etude, in that the thumbs are often also interlocking with one another. There's some alternating octave passages. So I hope you enjoyed this third etude by Seymour Bernstein. And more than that, I hope that you might visit Clavier Companion in September, October, to view this full article that speaks about and writes about this career of this kind of phenomenon in the piano world.